More like whack rooms. Yo, what's up and welcome back. Yes, Backtage's Reach is always a major. And today, my fault. It's Film Friday, baby. And we're going to be talking about Backrooms. Spoiler alert, a little bit underwhelmed with the movie. But, I mean, nothing insanely negative or, yeah, you know what I mean. I say that and I gave it like 2.5 stars, I think. Two stars on Letterboxd out of 5. But, I mean, I'm not a hater. Why would I ever want to dislike a movie? Like oh my gosh, I'm gonna get into that in a second. I was gonna start off by saying it's hard for me to be a hater or to be in a negative mood because on Saturday, June 13th, the Knicks became the finals champions of 2025 to 2026. It was amazing. Now, I haven't been a Knicks fan for the longest time. I had a friend of mine introduce me to like basketball, like on like 2K, like in elementary school. You know what I mean? Like I played some basketball with him and shit. And then I think in gyms sometimes I would play basketball with my friends and stuff, but like nothing crazy or anything like that. I wasn't super athletic till volleyball came along. And then yeah, no, I wasn't the biggest basketball fan, but like a few years, like 2 years ago or something like that, I started getting into the Knicks, Jalen Brunson, Carl Anthony Towns. Like their synergy was super good. Like I started watching more like football and stuff too. Like I wasn't like following the games, but like I saw some podcasters talk about it and I thought it was interesting. It really is theatrical, like theater, comedy, drama, romance, not romance, but I mean like it is like comedy and drama and like just watching like rooting for your team and having the patriotism and shit like that. It's really fun. It's really fun being a part of something greater than yourself. And so I got into the Knicks. I wasn't doing any betting or anything like that. I was just watching the games. And actually, 2 years ago, or maybe a year ago, actually, I'm really bad at it. I think a year ago, when I had pancreatitis, I was in the hospital when the Knicks choked the playoffs against the Indiana Pacers. Halliburton hit the choke on us in Madison Square Garden. They took it on us, and then and Halliburton ended up tearing his ACL against Shy, and then OKC Thunder ended up taking the finals last year. So the Spurs were able to take out the Thunder this year, and we were able to take out the Spurs to take it all, and it was just super fun. Every game was entertaining. Knicks coming back from such a like a crazy like deficit, you know what I mean? Point lead that the Spurs had. If I die, bury me in a Knicks jersey, I might just come back. You know what I'm saying? Did I say that already? My bad. I've done this so many times, so many takes. People are dying outside right now. Uh, no, but that's not my tweet. I saw that somewhere. Like, if I die, bury me in a Knicks jersey, I might come back hard as shit because Brunson the kid absolutely did it. So it's hard for me to be like in a negative mood or anything like that because I was like still like off the high of that. Yeah, not the I wasn't like the most diehard or biggest Knicks fan, but then like after seeing them get to the playoffs last year, I was like, oh man, I'm super excited. And seeing them go all the way this year, I mean, super happy, super happy. So that was Saturday, and on Sunday I went to go see Obsession with some of the same friends because they hadn't seen it before. I had already seen it, and I was thinking of going to the movies either way. So I was like, you know what? Two birds, one stone. I'll go and then I'll watch maybe Scary Movie or Backrooms on Monday, whichever one comes first. I also ended up going to the travel agency right across from the theater at Union Square. So I got this Woodstock 1 gram live resin indica cart. I used it on a 510 volt battery from Ruby Farms, and I don't think it's compatible. I think that Woodstock makes their carts like a little bit more specific or niche to their uh, specific batteries and stuff. So like, you know what, that's cool. Whatever, respect them for doing like keeping their things. I think like PAX also does the same thing. They keep their carts with the cartridges specific to their pods or whatever parts pods to their batteries, whatever. So yeah, no, whatever. But I mentioned that because the cart did like it wasn't compatible with the Ruby Farm, so when like it wasn't pulling. So after I watched Obsession, I was taking a few pulls, it didn't like hit, and I was like, this doesn't make any sense. Whatever, still off the high of enjoying the movie and the Knicks win and having a good time with my friends. Had some Taco Bell, it was great. And then I went home and I switched the cart to the Woodstock battery, and when I did that, the bottom came flying out like it just exploded on me. It was crazy. I'd never seen a cart break like that. So I got it replaced the next day on Monday, and that's when I went to go see the Backrooms. Now, you're all caught up. Sorry that took about 5 minutes, but I wanted to give you guys the context of what's been happening the last couple of days. It's more than just a movie review, it's what I do. It's what I do. Yo, hold up, Donald Fagan. Yo, hold up, Steely Dan. Hold up, Peak. Okay. Shout out Asia, not my ex. The album. I gotta stop. Like, it's not funny anymore. Like ex jokes aren't funny, man. Come on, let's get over it. Literally though. Okay, no, but for real though. It's What I Do. What I Do, fantastic Donald Fagen song. He plays at work all the time because I have Steely Dan radio on. But yeah, yeah, yeah. I went to go see Kane Parsons, 20-year-old director, by the way, directorial debut, film debut. I think this was fantastic for a film debut. I think, like, although I wasn't the biggest fan of it, I think compared to what I was expecting, I do think it was a very enjoyable, thrilling movie. So if you're unfamiliar, sort of spoilers, the movie revolves around this character named Clark, and he is a furniture salesman who has like some a lot of like anger issues, a lot of like insecurity issues, a lot of I don't know, he's just not mentally all the way there. He has some issues that he has to deal with, some trauma and stuff that and some like if you ask me, BPD sort of stuff, anger issues, things of that nature that he has to deal with. But essentially the whole movie is a sort of double entendre, I believe, of losing yourself, both psychologically, becoming somebody that you don't want to be, or like reacting in ways, or pushing away the people that are close to you and stuff like that, but also physically losing yourself, like in back rooms. So Clark is a man with issues, clearly a man who's seemingly stuck in his ways, and sort of uninspired and not going anywhere. He's an not uninspired, but he's an architect at heart who is forced to work as like a furniture salesman to make ends meet, and we see that he just got kicked out of his house by an ex, or so. Yeah. Uh, I wasn't too sure what like the family situation was like, because he said he got kicked out of his own house by like his wife, I believe, and he has like a drinking problem, and he was coming home late at night and was like arguing with her, and um like this all gets brought up during a therapy session that he has, and his therapist ends up being somebody that like ends up reaching out to him, and both physically into the back rooms, but also like emotionally, and like trying to understand him, to no avail ultimately, because he's a fucking, he's a crazy person, and that's what the ending of the movie is. Again, spoiler alert. um no, but the whole there was no real plot, essentially, which is something I kind of had a problem with. It was kind of hard to follow because it wasn't so much a story as much as it was just a sequence of events happening to Clark, and or like I don't know. It feels weird to say just things were happening and he was making decisions, because that's what a story is. You know what I mean? But it felt I don't know, it felt one notish. I think they were trying to achieve a lot of the times the directional um direction that they took it in was very like, oh, they're trying to make this first person eerie, familiar, like scary. If you're unfamiliar with the idea of the back rooms, or what the back rooms are, essentially they are, I should have gotten into this way earlier. I'm on like take 7 though. I definitely explained this like 6 times already, but whatever. The idea of the back rooms are like this like fluorescent lighting office, empty, barren, like open spacey rooms that are creepily familiar, like eerily familiar, but you can't just quite place your finger on it. They have like, I mean, like anything from like arcade, like what's it called, arcade carpets, to like dried brown, like worn out, like stepped on rugs, and like again yellow fluorescent, like hospital lighting, like very much so like doctor's office, like lounge, like uncomfortable and just uneasy feeling throughout the whole thing. And I do like that they played with that, because the whole idea of the whole idea of the Backrooms is a place you're kind of familiar with, but you aren't really but you can't quite place your finger on it. It's not exactly safe, and I think they did a fantastic job, like with the idea of bringing the Backrooms to life. So Clark finds the Backrooms in his basement, in the basement of his store, when he's like when he's like messing around with the lights and trying to fix when he's trying to yeah, that's right, he lives in the store. I forgot he lives in the store because he got kicked out because he's having issues with his wife, maybe ex-wife, I don't know. I'm not too sure like where they lied and stuff like that, but I know he was lying in the beds that he was selling furniture. Like, it was crazy. He was literally sleeping on the furniture and like trying to watch TV and stuff, and then the lights were flickering on and off, and the whole place is a shit show. I think it's a good representation of like where he's at, like physically, you know what I mean? Like, it's like this a bunch of like furniture and open space, and it's like everything's, I mean, technically there, but I mean, like, there's no rhyme or reason, or like no, I don't know, you know what I mean? It felt so empty. And so that's when he, like, all those lights flickering is when he finds the back rooms downstairs. He becomes obsessed with them. He becomes the like he maps out the whole place, and he talks about becoming more of sort of himself, or like feeling like he belongs there. There's a whole like 20-minute 15-minute like conversation that like his therapist has with him when she's like trapped in the back rooms, like he trapped her, and he's explaining to her how like he feels control for the first time in his life. He feels like he doesn't have to change. He feels like this is like the backrooms are accepting him for who he is because he's flawed, and the fact is that the backroom itself is a flawed remembrance of everything that once was and everything that will be and stuff. And so like it's cute. I like the idea of it. I really did enjoy. Like, I was like, oh, this is a fun concept. I did enjoy, like, especially saying it out loud and thinking about it now. Like, I think it was like much better like on paper than in practice. I think that they did that they tried to do both psychological horror and visual horror, and they sort of, not that they can't work together, because a lot of movies have like nailed that combination of psychological and like visual, like suspense and like horror thriller, like in your face visual horror stuff. But I mean, the Backrooms played a lot with like visuals, like staticky, not being able to see everything clearly, like the idea of everything being filled like with VHS, you know what I mean? Like everything being blurry, like not being able to see shadows and corners, and everything looking so odd and just out of place, you know, but also at the same time boring, you know what I mean? It is what makes the Backrooms creepy, and so like I will give them props for that. I thought that that was pretty dope. I did like the way that the movie looked, like I really was a big fan of the VHS thing. Like, oh my god, I love like all like old staticky VHS, like you see the pixels and stuff like that. Like, I love that sort of shit. Like, I love that retro stuff, and I think that they absolutely nailed that. But I think that they were also trying to go for like a psychological, like creepy horror, like a mental gymnastics sort of situation. Like it was like it was playing with the shadows and stuff too. Like, I think I mentioned something like Hokum and Obsession. They're both played with like the shadows really well. I rewatched Obsession, like I said, so I really got to appreciate the shadows the second time around, especially knowing everything that I know now about the movie. It was really dope to see, and this movie does that as well. Obviously, the dingy lighting, it like doesn't make for too many like quiet spots or like dark spots to hide and stuff. So a lot of the sound design in this movie is really dope too. Like, I like a lot of like the creepiness. Ultimately, a lot of the threats ended up being like, oh, what could there be? You know what I mean? And I do like that, but I think that I don't know. I think that they just could have done more of it. I think instead of like trying to do psychological and visual, they could have just relied on one and made it either like a complete like I mean video game in the movie, which I mean, who wants to see that? You know what I mean? But or like an actual movie, like with like a plot and a reason to root for the character. I mean, I think I understand the character Clark, and like his like inability to like change, and like how he's a flawed character, how he gets super like angry, and like how he's entitled and he's a bad partner and he doesn't listen, has to have it his way, he's very stubborn. Like, I understand that, and like I just don't know. There's no reason to like really root for the character or want to see what happens next. The only thing I kind of saw myself being on the edge of my seat for was like the visuals of it. Like, I wanted to see what the next room would sort of be, how they would play with it, and like there's like this, the movie ends with um well, with Clark's therapist, because she's a supporting actress in the movie, if not like a protagonist, I guess, because she has a fair amount of screen time as well. There's like a side plot with her not being able to help like her crazy mother or her aunt, or I don't know. It was like another like there's another like I'm sure message about like acceptance and like moving on and grieving and like I don't know. It was visually like cluttered, you know what I mean? Like they like ironically with the Backrooms being like a like open space and eerie and like creepy. You would think that there would be like more uneasiness and like like more space to breathe, but like I don't know. There was like a scene where he was showing the therapist youth, I believe, and they were going through different floors of the of the same room, and every time, every floor that it got deeper, like it was like slightly altered and like not quite how it was. And I thought that was a sick visual representation of what the Backrooms is, which again in this movie is it's a place that absorbs everything in the outside world. So it kind of it is the outside world, but it doesn't quite remember it the right way because it's flawed as well. And Clark sees the idea of this embracing flaws, and he sort of feels that comfort in it. And I think that's great. I think that's a great. I think that's a fun concept. I think that I really like the idea of the ending, but when the ending actually came, it I don't know, it felt rushed because like it was going on the psychological end and him like being like, oh, this is like my home now because of like it makes me feel I've never felt more at home. I've never felt more powerful. I've never felt like I belong more. And then all of a sudden like his evil like warped self comes out like bigger, darker, and then there's a chase scene, and it's like this movie randomly remembered it was a horror movie, and it was like, oh yeah, that's right, we want people to be scared too, like visually, so we're gonna have this crazy chase scene. And it just felt very rushed and forced, especially with the like pacing of the rest of the movie. They really wanted to hone in on the creepiness and like the like curiosity of it. Like Clark and two of his supporting actors, like the Sarah and like Peter, I think. No, probably that's I think those are the days for obsession. But uh, Robert and Jessica or something like that. I don't know. Two of the people that helped him film his commercial for his furniture store joined him to the back rooms and stuff, and their sense of like curiosity and wonder and stuff like that. Maybe not wonder, but curiosity and like just it the inability to like grasp it all like really was interesting for a bit. Then they were killed off, and that that lasted for as long as it did. I think the biggest gripe I have with this movie, unfortunately, is that it doesn't seem to be like a real steady plot. And I guess you don't have to have a plot. Just watching a dope sequence of events happen is really interesting too. And I think for what it was, this was a dope sequence of like creepy and eerie moments. I think like I wish it would have either committed to like a visual horror or like psychological, or would have had a better ratio or combination or sort of balance of both, because I feel like it dipped its foot into both, and like at times felt like it committed and then just like jumped right back out. And I don't know. I did enjoy the movie. I was kind of at one point waiting for it to finish, and I was like, I don't even know what I'm watching anymore. I thought it was gonna be like an exploration thing, and then I thought it was gonna be survival, and then like I don't really know what's happening. Right, he's just obsessing over it, and then like his therapist has to like deal with like finding him, and like I don't know. I just didn't find myself like really rooting or like going against any of the characters. I didn't seem attached emotionally, or like I don't know. There was just like nothing too memorable about the characters. Again, like Clark being the flawed individual he is, that was like the most interesting thing about him was his relationship with his wife, and like how he like has all these dreams and he's taking it out on his wife, and like nothing's ever his fault, and like that's a really interesting character, I guess. But then like I mean like the idea of losing yourself and like losing yourself mentally, like that's really sick. And then obviously losing yourself in the back rooms physically, the deeper you go, the more lost you get. Things aren't the same, that it's a sick concept. I really do like it, especially like as your film debut, the directorial debut by Kane Parsons. He's only 20 years old as well. I think this is really done. I think this is a dope movie. Again, I probably only give it 2 to 2.5 stars, because I don't know. I'm probably gonna give it a 3 stars now that I'm thinking about it, because I do love the concept of it. I just know, like, actually watching it, I wasn't as enthralled. I just wasn't like as immersed. Like it did started like immersive. I did like the what's it called Oh my gosh, that one actor that played the Doctor Phil, Doctor Phil, that's funny. The that played the guy Phil who works on the Backrooms and started studying it. That actor, I'm a fan of him. I think he's done some hard work before, like a Cabin in the Woods situation, or like a Stalker in the Woods, and there's a killer in the woods in the window or something like that. Like I think he was really dope. Like his role as like a officiator or like a sort of spectator and the researcher and yeah, I think that was kind of interesting. They didn't really go anywhere with it, though. You know what I mean? I thought that was whack. And again, like just the like I think that they went for the idea of creepiness more than they actually went for creepiness, and like it worked out in some ways, and it didn't work out in other ways. And I was just, I don't know, a little bit underwhelmed, a little bit disappointed, and I feel like the points didn't connect as much as they could have. I don't know. Just a little bit disappointed, but like I did see some discussion of this like movie online, and like this especially Kane Parsons, especially with Curry Baker also being like a younger coming from like social media influencer skits, sort of like YouTuber realm, not like professional movie makers that like by any means, very much so amateurs. Um, Both of them getting like a fair amount of praise, and like these movies doing fairly well in the box offices. I was like, this is really dope. Though I did hear people were a little bit more disappointed in Backrooms. One of my friends, I think, stated it on like his letterbox, and I think another person, or like a bunch of people online I saw were disappointed with Backrooms. I was kind of scared to go into Backrooms because I thought it'd be like the same way people were disappointed in the Iron Lung movie, but I haven't seen Iron Lung and I haven't watched or played the game or anything like that. So like I didn't want to see that, but I was like, like why not go watch Backrooms? I like the idea of Backrooms more than I kind of like the idea of like Iron Lung. I don't even know what Iron Lung is about. But I was like Backrooms. That seems like I'm a really big fan of like liminal spaces and creepiness. Like I love like creepy stuff, like things that make me uneasy. Like that stuff, that shit rocks. Like I love getting uncomfortable in a movie theater. I love being uneasy. Like I love that shit. It's I don't know. I don't know. There's something about it. It's like the adrenaline rush of like getting creeped out, getting scared. You know what I mean? Like I love it, love it, love it. And so, when I saw that people were when I saw that this movie was coming out, I was like, yo, this might be like up my alley. Some like really creepy setting, some like really environmental storytelling, and just some like, and there was like a fair amount of that, but like, I thought I would, I don't know. I just wanted it to be a little bit more. That's me. That's bias on my end. I shouldn't go in expecting anything, except for like what the trailers say. And when the trailers were pretty straightforward, it was just dude walking around like in the background, looking around like, oh, what is this? And I guess that's what the whole movie was. He was just like, what is this? I'm obsessed with this, and it's because of this. You know what I mean? And cool. I won't knock it at all. I do actually recommend you go check the movie out, especially if you're into the back rooms and stuff like that. I mean, it's a no brainer. I think it's really interesting. The direction that they took was really dope. Again, that didn't work for me at times, and like at times underwhelming. And but like I really do appreciate this movie for what it was. It was super dope horror. I wish it would have stuck to it more, but like the sound design and everything was super dope. They played with the things you couldn't see really well, which is something I always give praise to. Like it's the things that like you don't see that make the difference, and the assumptions that you make, the connections you make, and like the way you feel about it and shit. Ah, love it, love it, love it. So, without further ado, yeah, Kane Parsons, Film Friday, Backrooms. I definitely recommend go checking it out, especially if you're into the Backrooms. Really dope watch. I think it'll be a good time. I think it'll be a good time. I think you'll find something enjoyable out of it. The acting isn't too bad either. I think that there's a lot of times that Clark gets very intense, sort of loses it and stuff, and I think you can find some enjoyment out of that. Really dope performances. Uh, Even the therapist being like super scared out of her mind was super believable as well. I think I remember saying something about Adam Scott from Hokum, not like selling me uh, as like a victim and like being scared and stuff like that as much as he played like a curious person. I think the therapist does a fantastic job, obviously being creeped out by the whole situation and acting accordingly. Again, the ending kind of crazy rushed. I don't know, didn't super add up, but I mean it was a dope experience overall. Recommend you go watch the movie, and that's it. Whatever. Goodbye.